Hey there, and welcome back for yet another week with My Green Pets. I'm William Green, and this is a cloud of oncidium flowers in one of the rental spaces in the greenhouse where I keep my orchid collection. And it smells so good. This pink one in particular, I didn't look at the tag, but it smells like cotton candy. It's so sweet and delicious. And there's a lovely Patha collection across the way. Not mine, one of the other growers, but definitely really nice. But this is where I keep my orchid collection pretty much all year round. I rent a space at Fantasy Orchids in Louisville, Colorado, and the plants seem to do pretty well here, so I like it. You missed seeing Hal bloom. He bloomed during the week, and I did have some pictures on Instagram if you want to check those out at My Green Pets. But I think that is going to be the final flower on this spike. The little green nubbin at the end is pretty small, so I don't think anything else is coming out of that. Also, Phalaenopsis Veloz is done blooming. Its flower just kind of suddenly faded, I think on Thursday. But it does have a nice little growth pushing out of the base there. You can see kind of pointing. So hopefully that's going to keep growing and probably won't bloom for a couple years. Phalaenopsis Shalariana has got a really nice spike this year, and it already has 4 branches coming off. So when this thing finally does bloom, probably around late February, early March, it's going to be a really great show. I've decided not to stake the spike this year, and it's kind of leaning over to the left a little bit, so we'll see what that ends up looking like. Memoria Jumbo World is a catasetum type orchid. It goes dormant in the winter, except it puts out flower spikes after all of the leaves have fallen off. And so here's the 2 flower spikes there. And it's sitting under a little plastic tent right now because water is automatic in the greenhouse, and I want to keep all water off this plant right now. Another catasetum type, this is a Fred Clarkara, and it also has a little nubbin at the base there, a little flower spike, hopefully pushing out. And it's probably going to take a few months for that to be fully grown out. But anyway, looks good. Next one is Bobo Medusa, and it is a late fall, early winter bloomer, so it's kind of right on time there. It's got lots of spikes. In fact, it's got about 13 spikes this year. Unfortunately, it looks like at least 2, maybe more of the spikes, for whatever reason, have started to turn black, and I feel like it's probably a good chance that these will not be blooming after all. There's still several healthy-looking spikes on there, but I really wish I knew what was going on. Here's another one that doesn't look like it's going to make it all the way through to blooming. It kind of starts out with these little black spots and then kind of progresses to the rest of the bud. Anyway, this is a Patha Appletonianum, and it's got, honestly, when I look in there, it almost looks like it's got 2 buds pushing out. That would be amazing. I don't know if all paths can do that, can bloom 2 on a stem, but if this one does, it'll be great, and I will take it back into judging for another look. Let's see, what are we looking at? Oh, this is the Dendrobium Elam, and this is just a little piece of my good neighbor Joe's plant here, and this is what it looks like when it is a mature kind of specimen sized plant. So I'm excited for that thing to keep growing. Okay, back in the apartment, we got a few orchids growing here. I got a couple of multiflorals. This is a Patha Prime Child, and then this one is a Patha Michael Kopowitz. And they weren't really doing very well in the greenhouse because water was sitting in the vases of the plants and causing the growths to kind of stunt and not really grow well. But in the newest growths on here, they really seem to be extending out a little bit more than they had in the past. So I have a good feeling that they're going to be able to grow pretty well here. And Michael Kopowitz, I'm really impressed actually. It's got 2 new growths down there at the base, pushing out. I had wondered, this leaf kind of turned brown and looked like it was dying, and I was like, what's going on? And sometimes that happens when the new growth pushes out. The leaf that they're pushing out of kind of sometimes will rot because it's been torn open there by those new growths. But anyway, so that looks pretty good. Then we got Cycnodes wine delight over here, which is pretty much done. Well, there's still one flower at the top there that's still open. The rest of them, well, there's one on the side there. But you know what? This is 4 weeks since they started opening, so I am okay with that. That is good enough for me. Let's see, the Cattleya Tamar Sing has been done for a couple weeks now, and the spikes are actually drying up. And that is it for that, for the bloom season for Fong Sing. And then I kind of cleaned up this Dienia ophrydis, and it looks okay. It's got this big bulb from last year, and the plant is dormant now for the most part. This growth, I think, is gonna go to sleep here, and then it won't do anything for a few months, and then in April, if last year is any indication, then April will be when it starts to grow again. And then finally we have this good old-fashioned Phalaenopsis putting out lots of new roots. And I got a little sprayer here, and just kind of gave it a little bit of a spray. And I also fertilized the other night, and I was using K-Lite fertilizer. Let me get it here for a second. Here it is, First Rays K-Lite fertilizer. It has all the essential ingredients, and it even has calcium and magnesium and trace elements as well. So I followed the 25 ppm nitrogen indication there, so like 1/6 of a teaspoon per gallon. And then I watered my PAF multis, and I watered the Phalaenopsis with this. So looks like some pretty good stuff. Well, guys, that's it for this week's My Green Pets. If you're celebrating this week, happy holidays to you. Happy growing to everybody, and we'll see you next time.